Hey again! So I just picked up this really cool book on the Barnes & Noble clearance rack. It's called Strange But True Science, and it has a bunch of really cool questions involved in science that a lot of normal people don't usually ask. And one thing I really liked in it was what would happen if the Earth stopped spinning. So initially it talks about like when you're driving a car and you're moving at like, I don't know, 60 miles per hour, and if your seatbelt isn't on and abruptly the car stops, what's going to happen? You're going to go flying forward. So this is pretty much what happens if the Earth stopped spinning, which it's not going to happen, but, you know, let's just say. If the Earth stops spinning, everything that is not grounded to the Earth's core, so let's say like trees and the atmosphere and buildings and people and animals, are all going to be projected forward, continuing at the rate in which the Earth was spinning, which is approximately 1,100 miles per hour. So next what's going to happen is half the Earth is going to be in a deep fryer and the other half is going to be in the freezer. This is actually because half the Earth is going to still be facing the sun, while the other half is facing away from the sun, hence in complete darkness for 6 months. Then after 6 months, it's going to change. This is just because it orbits the sun, and so it's eventually going to revolve its way around, and then the side that was frozen is now going to go through an extremely hot condition and vice versa. So from this happening now, you can guess if it's going to be an Arctic polar cap, tons of polar caps being frozen and the whole side freezing up, and then all of a sudden 6 months later it's all going to be melting from the ultraviolet radiation from the sun. That's going to cause massive tsunamis, massive typhoons, weather changes, all this crazy nonsense. And then the other side is going to be extremely hot from the ultraviolet radiation from the sun. Also because since the Earth is no longer spinning, it actually doesn't have an electromagnetic field anymore. The electromagnetic field is actually released through the northern and the southern poles of the Earth, and this is due to its gravitational pull and its strength, and from the Earth's metallic core. This is what sends off electromagnetic fields, and it protects the Earth usually. It will protect us from the sun and its really harsh rays. That's actually usually when we'll see northern lights or auroras. That's actually an interaction between, say, something like a solar flare and our electromagnetic field. So the next thing that's going to happen is, say somehow you survived, like as if you were in the International Space Station and you came back down to Earth. What would then happen is, obviously you won't have any plant or animal life to survive on. So the next step is, okay, well, you know, maybe have some extra food from your space shuttle that you can then eat from. But what's going to eventually happen is your DNA is going to start mutating in really intense ways. And this is because of, again, the radiation from the sun. You'll start developing really intense forms of cancer. Obviously, you're going to start to develop skin cancer. All this crazy, insane stuff is going to start happening to just your physical body. But alas, we do not have to worry about the Earth ever stopping spinning. The only chance of that is possibly if an asteroid was to hit us that's much bigger than we've ever experienced or we would even think of experiencing. But even then, it wouldn't even stop the Earth's rotation. If anything, it might just knock it a little bit wobbly more than it already wobbles. But, you know, we don't have to worry about any of that right now because we'll be able to possibly see it coming. But even then, the Earth can't stop spinning. It'll just kind of get out of whack. So anyway, I hope this was pretty cool, and maybe I'll do a few more videos about some of the stuff in this book because it's really kind of cool. I really like it. Anyway, be sure to check out my next video. I'm thinking of talking about some notes that I took during Scott Bolton's speech. Scott Bolton's speech about his whole journey with Juno going to Jupiter that I had the honor of seeing at Astronomy Night at the Intrepid a couple weeks ago. That was absolutely fascinating, and actually I've heard that Apple is now making music based off of the sound waves collected from Jupiter. So check that out, guys, and thanks again for watching. Bye!